Welcome to the Laker Advantage Podcast, Insights and Sidebars with Dr. B. Well, Dr. Bullock, it is August and the next school year is right around the corner.
It is August, the next school year is right around the corner. And of course it's August, and what do we have? Hot temperatures. That is a sure sign, Kyle, that school's about to begin.
That's for sure. And I'm glad that our classrooms are well air-conditioned with all sorts of renewable energies.
Absolutely. We love having renewable energies help cool the campus because many of us are of a vintage where we remember when there was no air conditioning in school buildings. And so be thankful.
Right, because we don't like our students suffering.
Absolutely not.
Well, maybe just a little bit of suffering. So what can students look forward to in the 24-25 school year?
There's a lot happening this year coming up, and we're excited about a number of things. First, when students come back to campus on August 19th, fingers crossed, Kyle, we will see a brand new parking lot A. That project is nearing completion, and hopefully we will have everything in place for the students to come back on the 19th. Also, they'll be able to see the beautiful new CDL lot. So as we navigate the Highway 45 entrance project, adding a third entrance to campus, we've had to move our CDL lot. There's a beautiful new CDL lot behind the West Building, so students will be able to experience that. There are other renovations that are going to happen over the course of the year, so we're pretty thrilled to see the progress on campus. I mentioned the Highway 45 entrance. Not only the beautification, but that third entrance. You're going to see just some basic changes around campus, some real simple things. We're going to be taking down some trees, removing some overgrown landscaping, really just trying to do some things to spruce up campus for students as they come back here this fall. The Effingham Technology Center. We are working on the upgrades and renovations to the first level that'll house the Effingham Regional Career Academy. And I know we've talked about that in the past, but we're pretty excited. That will have classroom space for the 5 programmatic areas. We're going to have a virtual reality space, an augmented reality space, a maker's lab. So that first level, hopefully by early spring 2025, we will see that space fully in use for the Career Academy.
And about that 4-way stop as they're coming into campus with the new parking lot, how's that going to look?
That is going to be awesome. We've had a lot of discussion over the years that was never a true 4-way stop, so now we will actually have a beautiful 4-way stop, and people will know when they're coming up to that what they should do, and that's always good to prevent accidents.
Absolutely. And more on the academic side, what can students look forward to this year?
Yeah, there's a lot happening on the academic side. We mentioned just a minute ago renovating the space for the Effingham Regional Career Academy in our Effingham Technology Center. We have a lot of new programming that's starting this fall for the Effingham Regional Career Academy. And one of the pieces I'm really excited about is CDL. So students who are 17 years old, 16 years old, they can take the classroom CDL portion before they're 18, and once they turn 18, they can do the driving portion and get their CDL license. But the Board of Trustees has approved us to offer these dual credit courses at the Technology Center at no charge to students, which is wonderful. So students will be able to take, I mentioned the CDL course, but introduction to security and operating systems, maps and spatial analysis, GIS type courses, healthcare courses. So really looking at a litany of kind of new and exciting dual credit courses that students can take through the Effingham Regional Career Academy that will lead to, hopefully at some point, further education and sustainable careers right here in our area.
And what kind of prerequisites are students going to need to take advantage of those classes?
They'll have to take the same prerequisites that they would need to take classes on campus, and generally that is meeting whatever the testing requirements are. But they're set up for high school students, so we ensure that the classes don't require a significant amount of either prerequisites or other types of coursework to get into those classes. They really are meant for the high school students.
Which school districts can take advantage of those programs?
Any school district that's a partner in the Effingham Regional Career Academy, and right now we have 14, and we welcome additional partners. So if they're a partner in the Career Academy, they can send their students to the Career Academy classes, again, at no charge, which is wonderful. Some other cool things that are happening on campus in regards to programming. We started this past summer our new powered industrial truck training, which for the layperson like myself is known as a forklift training. But we're finding businesses really have a need to upskill their workers in this whole area of powered industrial truck or forklift training. They need that. As we're focusing this coming year, I'm excited because we're doing more with technology. We've had the episode about the technology division talking about what we did with Tech Today. We're looking at our HVAC program, doing things more with competency-based education. So it's this idea of continually reinventing ourselves to ensure that we're relevant to our communities. So we're going to spend a lot of time this year kind of reinvigorating and rethinking and re-strategizing about the whole idea of CTE education or vocational education, again, to make sure that what we're offering is relevant to our students and going to be useful for our employers for those students coming out. So dual credit is another area where, as I mentioned, what we're doing at the ERCA, dual credit is an area we're also going to look at additional opportunities within our community for students. How do we help them get pathways into higher education, further higher education, or into the workforce, further partnering with other areas such as LIFT, as we are with ERCA here in Mattoon. So we're pretty excited about really focusing on the CTE side and the dual credit side this year.
And how much is this going to cost a student to take advantage of?
Again, the dual credit for the ERCA is at no charge. We have not raised our dual credit rates for students for some time for those who are taking dual credit courses outside of the ERCA. One of the things I want to highlight, which we're really proud of, Kyle, is that Lakeland College's tuition, if you enter in fall of 2024, is 3.2% higher than it was in the fall of 2020. So you think about what we've experienced inflation-wise and change-wise over the course of the last 4 to 5 years. In Lakeland College, we've been able to maintain our costs because it really is about ensuring our students have a quality education that's affordable to them. And we haven't put that burden on taxpayers either. We've talked about this in the past, but over the last 6 years, we've been able to reduce our levy rate for our residents who pay property taxes every single year in the last 6 years. And over the last 6 years, that equates to a drop of about 19.3% in our levy rate. So we want to make sure we're able to provide these educational opportunities for students without putting the burden on students in the form of tuition and without putting the burden on our taxpayers in the form of property tax increases. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that, and I credit our Board of Trustees for their foresight in making sure that we remain a very fiscally viable organization.
And what kind of opportunities are graduating students going to have after they go through these programs?
You know, the reason the programs, and I'll take the Career Academy in particular, and we do the same thing on campus. The reason these programs are designed the way they are is we listen to business input. So on campus, we have business advisory committees. We have advisory committees for each of our CTE programs, and they meet with those advisory committees at least twice a year. And they walk through curriculum. Is this curriculum still relevant to what your business needs? And these are business leaders in the field. And so we did the same thing with the Effingham Regional Career Academy, is making sure that the programs we're offering are programs and courses that are needed for someone to gain employment, and not just employment, but life-sustaining employment within our communities.
What's new with athletics this year?
Athletics, there's a lot happening in athletics. Of course, we have Coach Hendricks is back as our softball coach after the softball team went to the national tournament last year. We're excited for how our volleyball team and basketball teams, men's and women's, look this year, and our baseball team. I think athletics is going to have a banner year. That's just my prediction, but of course we're Lakers and we always do well. But one of the other cool things that's happening on campus that we're in the planning phases for is not only new restrooms outside, which we've needed for some time to support the baseball diamond and the softball diamond, but we're also looking at building an athletic practice facility that can be used by our baseball and softball teams, as well as partnerships with community organizations, youth sports teams who need places to practice during inclement weather or during the winter months. Our goal is to ensure that we get people onto campus. So it's not just about preparing our athletes to be good athletes in the programs that they excel, but also about making connections with local athletes within our community. So we're excited for that design and development. I can't give you a firm timeline on when that will be constructed, but that design will be starting this fall. So more to come on that, Kyle.
And I've been hearing a lot of grumblings about our trap shooting team. What's new with them?
Our trap shooting team, it's a really cool endeavor. So we started the trap shooting team a couple of years ago. Coach Josh Falk has done a great job there. They've gained a lot of kudos as a team. They do competitions around the region. Their competitions are open for people to come watch as well. I personally have not yet gone to one of the trap or skeet shooting competitions, although it is on my plan to do so this year. But really an exciting new sport, and we've seen a lot of traction.
So what kind of new student activities can students look forward to this year?
Of course, we have so many clubs on campus that students can participate in. We have our Wednesday hour where students can over the noon hour, participate in various types of campus events. One of the clubs that the board approved this last year that students are really pumped about is our Taylor Swift Club, the Swifties. So I can't wait to see what events the Swiftie Club decides to put on this year. But overall, there's always something to do on a Wednesday for students, and oftentimes in between there as well as clubs take on activities or events or fundraisers or whatever they do. So it's going to be a really exciting time on campus for student activities and academically.
What kind of, what's the outlook for beyond 24-25?
I'm really optimistic for beyond 24-25 with what we have together for our campus plan. I know we're positioning the campus itself to be a viable institution and really be relevant to our communities for the next 50 years. Academically, we are going to continue to do what we can to ensure that our workforce has the skill sets they need to support local business. There's a lot in the press, and you can read about that, about an enrollment cliff, or sometimes they're calling it a double enrollment cliff, that they're expecting across the nation, and Illinois is no exception, especially rural Illinois, that we're going to continue to see a decline in the school-age population. And that very well may be the fact. But I have no doubt that there are more than enough individuals out there that are going to continue to sharpen their skill set or need a new skill set or a skill set that Lakeland College is going to be able to provide those skill sets for years and years to come. Again, to make sure our communities remain viable, to ensure that our businesses stay here because they have a quality workforce.
And what are we telling parents and potential students who haven't quite made the commitment to come to Lakeland yet, but are thinking about it?
I think the big thing we can share with students is overall Lakeland College, we educate about a third every year of those graduating high school seniors. If you look at those high school seniors who go on to post-secondary education immediately following school, it's about 2/3. So we are really the place where students come to start their higher education journey. And for the parents, I would say if you have students that are undecided, send them to Lakeland College to come talk to one of our counselors. Come talk to our faculty and staff. Learn about the opportunities that are out there. If you get into a career, you want to make sure you get into a career that you're going to want to enjoy being in for the rest of your life. And college is a time to not only focus on developing a skill set in a career, but really to explore where your areas of interest are. And Lakeland College is wonderful for that, especially when you consider, Kyle, that to attend Lakeland College is just over $4,000 a year, all in. That's books, tuition, fees, everything. And so it does provide an opportunity for students to come here and do some career exploration, especially knowing we have a guided pathways framework that allows students to start their educational journey here at Lakeland exploring and then funnel that exploratory nature down to something that the students feel is relevant to them and that they can see themselves in a long-term career.
Are there any options for students who are just needing a skill in one thing, but they don't need the rest of the college experience?
Absolutely. I think folks think of college as being you have to have a certain type of degree. And Lakeland College offers a tremendous number of certifications and certificates. So someone can come to Lakeland College and get a certification, let's say, in IT. And maybe it's in the Microsoft products because they want to enhance their skill set there. I would say come again, talk to our faculty, talk to our counselors, learn about what types of short-term certifications we have for students so they can gain a skill set without potentially spending 2 years in school or longer. They might be able to come here for a semester or an 8-week period, take one of our mod classes. There are so many opportunities and options available, and that's what we want to continue to do, as I mentioned with our Tech Today and our programs that allow some type of variability in how courses are taken to fit with a student's life, because students have become much busier than they were when I was a student because there are so many additional pressures in life.
And how flexible are we with online courses?
Online courses are a great way to be flexible. We offer so many of our courses, general education as well as programmatic specific courses online. And we found that many students prefer online because it fits with their lifestyle. And online courses are very, very rigorous. And you need the right mindset to take an online course because it's very self-driven, it's self-paced. But our faculty have really perfected delivering online education and keeping it as an engaging and thoughtful way to learn a skill.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about this upcoming school year?
No, but Kyle, as I think about where we are here in Illinois and the heat we're experiencing here in August, it just reminds me of states in general. And I ran across a very random fact recently. Do you know which state uses the most laundry detergent?
No idea.
Well, of course, it'd be Washington.
You know, last month was okay, but you really
It's going downhill, isn't it?
that's the best way to put it.
Thank you. I'll try harder next time, I promise.
Oh, I don't know if I want you to. It might make it worse.
That's true.
Well, thank you for listening to the Laker Advantage podcast, Insights and Sidebars with Dr. B.